How does one read? How does one read its nose? How does one read its mind? If I scribble my thoughts, is that a transcription of my state? If I jot down my compulsive thoughts, is that a violent way of making my life attainable? How does one read memory? How does one record memory? How does one recall it? Is recording one's memory a symbol of fear towards the passing of time? There's language. Do thoughts come after language? I need to translate my thoughts to English, for I primarily speak in Spanish. I translate and then prostitute my thoughts in my notes for a reader to read me. Am I losing my authentic being? How can I be read? Where do I encounter my voice? Are my pages my body? I like the idea of ephemerality. Is the act of reading my notes out loud the act which is nearest to reading my mind, to touching my body? Is the act of reading my notes out loud an act of public masturbation? Are the pages that hold my thoughts a body or a corpse? Are their thoughts dead or alive? If I read in Spanish, the meaning for you will disappear, and what remains would only be vibration. Can you touch my vibration? Do my thoughts vibrate by themselves? Can you grasp meaning to vibration? When I read, I hear my voice. Can you hear it too? Do you even hear yours? Why do we put our voices to ideas that don't primarily belong to us? But still, do you think ideas have ownership? Can ownership exist in the intangible? Indeed, is there something such as an author? Is the book an open system? An open system is a system that freely exchanges energy and matter with its surroundings. For instance, when you're boiling soup in an open saucepan on a stove, energy and matter are being transferred to their surroundings through steam. Putting a lid on the saucepan makes the saucepan a closed system. Therefore, when the book is read, an open system of exchange is activated. Kinetic energy is generated by our mouth while we read out loud or in our hands when flipping a page. And an intangible matter of knowledge is transferred to a mind. When finished, it becomes an obsolete closed system stuck in a shelf. Nonetheless, some meaning will be now stored on the reader. And what happens if the book is left open on top of a table with no subject reading it? What happens in this system? Is a book a finished object? Does it need a reader to be finished or started? Does a book have meaning, or is it activated with one's eyes and mind? Indeed, does the book exist by itself? And if it does, then why is it published? Is publishing considered an act of mutation? We were trained to read from left to right, right to left, from read to trained were we. Thus, structure gives meaning. Can a meaning bring new structure? Can a meaning be free of structure? Is there any vanguard for meaning? But I am Jewish, and Hebrew is read inversely from English. Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. This means, Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. I am not fluent in Hebrew. Thus, when I pray through vibration rather than through meaning. Very little often I am fully aware of what my mouth expels, but my heart might be aware. Is that corroding meaning? Si leo en español, solo escuchan vibración, como si mi boca fuese un instrumento y mi lengua la protagonista de la partitura. To be an artist in this land, I must undergo a continual process of translation. What's the significance of a translator? Is there any loss in that subjective bridge between languages? Meanings get married and many words are not invited. The glossary and the dictionary are the bridge and are the bridesmaids. I still wonder if my roots are in friction to my meaning, if by translation I'm a traitor to my roots. In the book, there's agency, and my author can't access its meaning without its mind, its heart, its pulse, its hands, its eyes. But I am aware my resources aren't the only ones available for conceiving an author. The fact is, hands and eyes only exercise the tangible connection towards the matter of meaning, as if I could grasp it. Hands and eyes are only common accessible tools. The book converges many minds, from one solid meaning to a fluid stream of meaning conceived through collectivity. I will never expect for you to understand me, as I assume there will be never a common understanding. There is matter for relation. There is a foreground for discussion where meaning might arise. The discussion is between the material and the way of giving meaning. The ownership lies in one's meaning. The truth lies in one's perception. In disagreement or misunderstanding, I might say I place the truest meaning of all. And that's a way I enjoy language barriers. Misunderstanding or desencuentro as the highest and richest encounter of all. I try to build my own ontology. First learn and understand some meaning, for then to displace it where your spirit demands so. We close and open a book. We submerge in an ocean of words and swim through meaning. A word is nothing without a relation. A letter is less without a relation. A word is nothing without a mind, a shelter. A word is nothing without a family. A word has no function by itself and only gets activated when a subject encounters it. If not, it remains in dormancy, as a seed. It needs the subject to germinate, or even to be nature. The agency between word and subject is what creates meaning. Thus, there is no meaning without the subject, and by this means, the word is subject to the subject. The word as object, relation as basis. For how long will we believe there is something such as meaning? For how long will we believe there is something such as a proper use of language? I wish to see your unproductive frustration when encountering my morning pages, written and scribbled in Spanish. For you, there is no meaning in them, just tactility. Does the bilingual being hold more power? Is the bilingual being capable of accessing more resonating mediums? Language is more sensorial than what we've been told it is. Just try touching my notes to access some meaning. Do not let your vision or hearing be sovereign of your understanding. Try touching my notes. If there is such a meaning, there will always be an existing means for the encounter. But the means are tacit. Prologues, chapters, numbers, pages, words, left to right, up and down. Does order only exist through structure? Can meaning be embedded in the materiality of a page? If turned into ashes, would that meaning vanish or be transformed? What is the significance of a copy? Shall we read only the back cover or just the cover of a book? Shall we read diagonally? Shall we open a page and start where our fingers tell us to do so? Is this influencing the acquisition of knowledge or knowledge itself? The fight to encounter new meaning. To this moment, you've acquired all meaning through language, but primarily through vibrations. Hertz is the unit for sound. The speaker vibrates, particles in the air move and collide, penetrate your ears, and those vibrations enter your neural circuits, which suddenly translate them into meaning through a common language, as if it was mechanical, not intellectual, nor human. Is the act of listening an act of lecture? Is then the act of listening an act of labor? Is then the act of listening purely mechanical, or is it inherently an act of translation? Are we inherently translators? We are an apparatus for encounter. Our bodies are the passive medium by which, through penetration, we are gifted with meaning from our world. Where does an idea originate? It originates from a stimulus acting over the passive medium of a body. Can we think of an equal relation between active and passive, or in isolation? Passivity as disposition and activity as a physical, chemical, spiritual, or biologic movement, maybe even presubjective or intersubjective, which is only enacted in a medium which is able to house it. Body as house, stimuli as guest. Body as host, and stimuli as parasite, or the inverse. Body and stimuli a relationship towards a meaning. This relationship supposes some sort of symbiosis. But does the stimulus harm the body in the conception of a meaning? If so, is this relationship a parasitic relation in which one species benefits while the other species is harmed? If the stimulus does not harm and instead benefits through meaning, is this a mutualism relationship in which both species benefit, such as a goby fish and the shrimp? If the relationship is instead neutral, meaning it will not either harm nor benefit either, just dispose through that relationship new information with an open destiny. Shall we call it an equalism? The latter does not exist. The last proposition for symbiotic relationship in nature is commensalism, in which one species benefits while the other species is not affected. Yet, in this relationship, the benefit stands in one side. Is it the body or the stimulus who benefits? Does the stimulus need to be human? Does this vary with the case? Is the production of an effect or effect already supposing a benefit for the body, or is it for the successful stimulus? Equalism might be then the new neutral symbiotic relationship. But is idea generation neutral? I mean, is the generation of an idea neutral? There is a gap in nature in symbiotic relationships. Might meaning be inherently political and beneficial for only one side? If it is, then is the benefit for good? What does it work towards? Can benefit harm?
No se va a enterar.